Today I've got two people joining me on the call, and we're going to be talking about leagues and the changes we've got coming up for leagues. First of all, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Martin. I work on the product, doing mostly a bit of design and also organising some workflow as well.
I'm the backend manager. I handle the servers that the app talks to. So that's basically stuff like the database, things that handle the trades, the store sales, that kind of stuff.
Hello. So I kind of spearhead the front end development, I suppose the yin to Rich's yang. So I take the designs that Martin comes up with and the data that Rich provides from the back end.
So first of all, I just want to talk about leagues and the problems we are trying to answer with some of these changes that we're making to leagues. And Kyle, if you wouldn't mind sort of talking us through that.
Okay, yeah. So we've identified a few areas where the current league's iteration could be improved. At the moment, it can be quite a grind because there is no penalty for losing a game. Quite often, the leagues can end up in a situation where it's the players who have the most time to spend on the game end up at the top of the leaderboard, even if they're not necessarily the best players in terms of their win rate. And also because leagues, the ranking is based on a sort of global leaderboard position. It can be a little confusing as the league goes on, what your current rank is, and also the fact that as more players play and gain more trophies and could potentially go above you, without playing, you can go down a rank, which isn't a particularly satisfying experience. If you're at the top tier one day, you can come back and you've been knocked back. And if you don't necessarily have the time to play, that can be not a particularly fun experience. And also generally the way that we handle the tiers, it's not always clear, I think especially for newer players coming in, how that process works and where they can expect to end up and what rewards they can expect to get when the league finishes. So they're the main areas where we're looking to improve with the new iteration of leagues.
Going over to slide 2, we are looking to break our development into 2 iterations. So initially, the first iteration is going to be sort of more back-end changes, and then the second iteration is going to be UI changes, which I'll talk you through in a minute. But I'll hand over to Rich now, who's done obviously the back end side of this. So if you just run through some of the changes that you've made.
Thanks, Martin. I guess the first thing that we've done that's quite a significant change is to allow the player to lose trophies. That's quite significant in that we've never done that before. We've always just always given users trophies but never taken any away. This should help with players that have a better win rate and are maybe not just willing to put in the time to continuously play games. This will reward the players that have a better win rate, essentially. Now that may seem scary, but the other thing that we put in is that we set it so that it will ratchet up the tier system of tier rewards, so that when you reach your tier, once you hit that score, that trophy amount, you will not go back down below it. So you will remain at that tier until the end of the leagues. And that would be quite a relief, I think, to a lot of players who basically, when they're leaving the game, if they don't keep at it, if they don't do the grind, they find out that they've gone down a tier and they've not received the reward they expected. And the other thing to simplify the scoring is to only to only issue 1 trophy at a time for winning a game. So when you win a game, you'll get 1 trophy. When you lose a game, you'll lose a trophy. It's that simple. We'll try it out like that, see how it goes. We expect it should be a lot more simply. We've had very positive response to that when we've given some players some advance notice of what we're doing. So it looks quite promising.
Brilliant, thanks, Rich. Yes, just on the UI side of this is that obviously the player at the moment on the UI is at the bottom rank of Atom. If they win one trophy, they will move up to Bunny and Corgi and Wasp. Wasp, obviously, they need to win 2 trophies to move up the rank to Jellyfish. So that's kind of how you will scale up the ranks showing you from a UI point of view. So this is the first iteration, and if that goes well and the community like, your feedback is important to us, then we're going to be looking to do a bigger UI change. It's really just refactoring the data that we display to the player. So just talking to you about the first screen here, we've got the featured arenas. So at the moment you can play 1 of 7 arenas, and even multiple of that arena plus the collection. So you can't tailor your deck as much as we'd like you to for a league. So what we're doing is we're selecting the arenas that you will be playing, and potentially this would also allow us to have more than 2 collections to find in a week. Not saying we will, but it does give us a lot more opportunities to mix up the leagues each week. Then we're on the, so what we've done is this is a slider. So this will rotate, you come on the second screen, you're still on the same screen, but it will just, you'll be able to flip left or right to see these details, but we define all the starting energy as we do currently in the rules. But Kyle, in this screen, we've added a couple of extras.
The eagle-eyed among you will notice that as well as the starting energy, max energy and energy per turn, which we currently have with our leagues format, we now also have a minimum energy value. So obviously leagues, they change up every week, and certain collections or certain kind of league rule configurations encourage particular types of play. And these new league rules that we're putting in are really there to sort of balance certain deck types, which can, I suppose with certain setups of rules, sometimes get a bit out of hand. So especially with something like a low energy week in leagues, energy drain decks can become quite powerful, and you can end up in a situation where you or your opponent can basically not play any cards because this energy amount is quite low to begin with, and then as you start taking energy away from either player, those games can become quite sort of flat and frustrating as you can't play anything. So that's why we've got the minimum energy amount in there, and so that basically acts as a floor. So at the start of each turn, your energy will be returned up to that minimum energy value if it's below it, which allows us to do more interesting things with league rules without having to worry about issues like players not being able to play any cards. Similarly, we've also added a maximum power per turn, and this is there to primarily combat issues with sort of power creep decks, especially when we have leagues that have kind of high amounts of energy and you can recycle quite quickly and have a lot of cards that give you power per turn over the course of the game. You can end up in a situation where that really runs away, and again, it isn't particularly fun to play or play against. And so that's just another element that we've put in to allow us to sort of control the parameters of the game and hopefully make for a more fun experience for everybody.
Brilliant, thanks for that, Kyle. Then obviously the third screen we've got here is the leaderboard, but the fourth screen, which you have seen on the previous, not too dissimilar, previous sort of second, the first iteration of what we just showed you on slide 2 is the sort of new ranks. One addition that we're going to change that isn't in design is that where we say how many gems and cards and coins they're going to get, this the player will win. This is going to be mixed up far more in this iteration of the leagues, and so each week it will change, or bi-weekly, or it will be mixed up a lot more. So what you potentially can win that week will be changing, especially in the top tiers. But as I say, this is the second iteration. The first iteration has to go well. We have to be happy with the feedback that we're getting, and we'll run that for a few weeks before we roll out the newer UI. So that's it. That's our league update. I'd like to thank Rich and Carl for their time, and do post below in the comments if you've got any feedback.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.